think my voice on this obscure channel is going to help all that much, but, as the saying goes, all that is necessary for evil to triumph is good men do nothing. And I think that's exactly what's going on here.
And I actually have something to add to this that I think is really important, because I think a lot of people fall victim to this whether they realize it or not. It is very, very popular to thrust yourself into a movement or something that is being caught up on in the media and say that you're on the side that, the media is, whether or not you really understand the issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I've noticed, and not just, my friends or anything, but random people that I don't know, so I couldn't say for sure, but I have my suspicions. Like I said, you can't say unless you're there. But anyways, when an issue like this comes up, and you think you feel a certain way about it, actually do some digging, and do a little research yourself, and kind of mentally block what the people around you are saying, because it can, and often probably will, taint your opinion in some way.
Mm-hmm.
First, form your own opinion before putting yourself into the midst of everyone else's. And I think you will understand where you actually come from and be able to articulate your own arguments and points a lot better that way.
I've always been extremely neutral. Like, Chris knows me, I am the kind of person that I will sit there and look at both sides and declare both sides stupid, and then declare my own opinion of it. And that's how I see it most of the time for all this stuff. People psychoanalyzing every little possible thing they can when a game comes out. The zombies in Africa are racist. That's something that I wouldn't look at that game and think that. It's just kind of like,
Yeah.
So it's based in Africa. That's interesting. I wouldn't think, oh, look, the white guy is shooting the black zombies. That's obviously racism. Or, see, I'm losing my track. Damn it. I wish I hadn't taken medicine, because now I'm not completely all the way there.
You're fine.
It's too much of reading between the lines, looking for something that doesn't exist. And that happens so much online that it just sickens me at a point. I look at a picture and I say, oh, well, this is what's going on. That picture's this. And then I see 3 other different people that have psychoanalyzed the picture and have come up to completely different things. And I read what they said, and I look at the picture and I'm just like, I don't see it. But all kinds of other people are seeing it too. And it's just like, what the hell is going on here? It's the same, I'm trying to think of the 2 other games I was trying to come reference to, but they're gone.
Well, I know we talked about that Far Cry 4 advertisement poster about the guy in the purple suit. Obviously was Asian to me, but everybody claimed he was a white guy with a Hispanic.
It looked Asian to me too.
But it starts spreading, because I've noticed that since people started saying this stupid crap, I sometimes look at something and I think for a split second it pops in my mind, that could be viewed as racist, or that could be viewed as sexist. And then I stop myself right there, and it's like I almost want to punch myself in the face, like, don't ever think that again. That's stupid. You're using senseless mentality. It's like, just because that even remotely appears like that doesn't mean it is. Just because there's only men in this game doesn't mean the game is sexist.
Well, and that's something else too. Just because the developers or the writer's vision for the story has the character be a certain sexuality or a certain race or a certain gender, and everyone is disappointed that it's not their preferred sexuality, race, or gender, who are they to say what it actually should and shouldn't be? If the freedom of speech is so important in this country, who are we to censor game developing writers that are trying to tell us a fictional story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's absurd. Have we really reached that point in this, well, I'm not even going to say this country or the world, that we must appease everybody for everything we do, otherwise it's wrong and it must be stopped?
It's one of the things I've never understood. If freedom of speech is used so heavily, especially by special interest groups, I don't need to throw anybody under the bus, but let's face it, they're the ones that can pull that card. I'm gay, I'm black, I'm, whatever. Why are they the only ones that can pull the freedom of speech card? That's the question.
And I try to put myself in their shoes and think of a sane answer, and there's none. I can't think of anything.
No. But again, on a personal level, I don't have any particular personal problems with people of a special interest group.
Yeah, there's only one group that I really have something against, and that's the mental health organizations. Was their blatant favoritism towards certain illnesses and then complete and utter neglect for other illnesses. But that has nothing to do with games. Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
We may be there at some point.
It could. Actually, it does a little, because To the Moon, to me, was a blatant, pointing the finger towards autism. That was what the entire game was about.
That was a fairly recent release, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It got a bunch of rewards, and then I played it, and I thought, this isn't a very interesting game. I thought it was a really poor game. And, of course, I announced that. People saw red. I was no good bastard and everything else. And it was like, once again, the favoritism, autism groups attack anybody that has anything to say, any form of negativism towards it. I'm like, I'm glad they have it only for this mental illness and not all the other ones that are out there.
I haven't played it yet, but I think the reason why it was a success was because it brought attention to something that that probably needs to be explored, and for that, I think that's a good thing. It's like with Zoe's game, attacking something about depression. There probably needs to be more games that do these kind of social stuff. But what scares me is the people who's going to be behind them, like Zoe. Who, by the way, there's something else I forgot to mention. She was actually scamming a gathering of indie developers, and she was taking their money. There was also that. I forgot to mention that part. Sorry.
Wow. So she's just a shit person all around.
Her depression game does, show what depression's like. I played it. It's like, yeah, okay, that shows what depression's like. I'm chronically depressed. I know exactly what, like, this really shows it. But how she acts, how she behaves to get that game noticed, kind of weakens the game itself. It's kind of like, if you has to shove this down our throats and do all this drama and crap to get your game noticed, then maybe you need to take another, objective way to make this game noticeable instead of pouring yourself out to the gaming industry.
And don't forget, you do represent the product that you market.
Yeah.
I don't think she planned on anybody finding out about it, but...
Yeah.
And I did bring up her name, so I should probably mention her at some point. I could almost make several shows on her alone, but Anita Sarkeesian is probably one of the most famous feminists as far as video games are concerned right now, which is really, really ironic. Despite what she says in public, she's not much of a gamer herself. And if I watched a couple of her videos way back in the day, I didn't think she was all that bad, but apparently I caught some of her good ones because I caught up during this week, and oh my goodness. But basically, Feminist Frequency is a YouTube series that she started with Kickstarter, $150,000, $160,000, something like that. By the way, the series is just barely better edited in quality than our own show, I should probably add, and she puts them out, like, very infrequently. But anyway, it's a YouTube series that looks at tropes of women in video games. And on the one hand, I think what she's trying to do is actually interesting and needs to be explored, but how she does it is horrific. But she's under death threats this week, and she's actually in hiding from what media outlets have been saying this week. And it was because of her support for Zoe Quinn. It does not justify what these guys are doing, but it does prove the media agendas a little bit, because the media did not say that was what it was over. They said it was just she was being harassed because of her show, or because of who she's been representing as a very, very hard left-wing feminist group. But no, it was over this Zoe situation because she had supported her so heavily right up until the end, and possibly even still does for all I know, because Anita's been caught lying to people, scamming people, a whole bunch of other things, and that's outside of her show, which has a lot of social and scientific and political inference that she throws out there rather than focusing on the actual truths. And she has a really big fondness for blaming just about everything on Christianity, which I know is a big deal these days, and because I know there's a lot of cases that is actually true. Just because it says Christian does not mean I'm 100% behind it. I'm smarter than that. I know what my religion, I even hate calling it that, has done in the past and in the present, because there's so many people that do not get it and call themselves this anyway. So, I get where a lot of that hatred is coming from, but I'll stay off that. I'll definitely take people off if I go there. So, she's manipulated the video game community. She thefted, and I can't really say much about this because I take trailers all the time, but she thefted almost all of her footage from Let's Players. Never credited them. All the Let's Players that I've ever taken video from, I got their permission from a very reputable site. It was not that hard to do. Yeah. And she makes backhanded comments and videos about men that the majority of us have never seen or heard because of her personal opinions. And there's mounting evidence that even this latest situation of these death threats, she arranged, because there's evidence showing that she went to 4chan, of all places, and attacked them on their own forum board in mass amounts. She started a war with 4chan, and, there's a lot of people out there that may not know what 4chan is at this point, but that is not something you do.
Let people use a bathroom, like a toilet. Let 3 or 4 people use it, and then stick your face in that. Welcome to 4chan.
Those are some very opinionated, very aggressive people in that community. Yes. A lot of anonymous came out of 4chan, if that helps clear any of that up. And very dangerous people in there.
I've received death threats from 4chan. And receiving death threats on 4chan is like eating food during the day.
That she went there knowingly attacking these people. She was bringing this on herself to cause a controversy.
Yeah, it's absurd.
I don't know if that's true. It to me too. That's probably extremely wrong for me to report something that may be just allegation from people that don't like her, but everything I've seen about her so far, I could believe her doing this. She is definitely an attention wanter.
Attention whore.
Okay, you used the term. I was trying to avoid it.
Yeah. You were trying to avoid it. I was just like, fuck it, say it.
Yeah.
If they
Say what
you don't
you
like
mean.
that I said that, people, then I don't know what to tell you.
But my case against Sarkeesian specifically is that she contradicts herself constantly about the role of women in video games and loves to use misogynistic without really understanding what that word means, I think. And also violence against women without understanding exactly what that means, because I'm one of those people that, rape is not one-sided. Violence is not one-sided. These are things that happen to old, young, male, female. It happens to everybody. There should not be any special rules about, okay, if this person gets hurt, something should be done. But if this person gets hurt, we should laugh at it. And I hate to tell you people, if you watched media over the last 30 years, that's exactly what's happened. What we've turned sexual assault into at this point is so vague when it comes to women, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing necessarily, but it's become so vague that you can call somebody out on some of the very smallest offenses. However, you reverse that and it's gone.
Totally gone.
We have gotten to the point that a guy getting kicked in the nether regions because of things like Funniest Home Videos, it has become such a cliche, it's in our kids' videos.
Yeah.
It is sexual assault. We have movies, now I don't know if Nutty Professor 2 is really supposed to be a kids' movie, but you have a man getting raped by a mutant hamster.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be funny. If it was reversed, if that was a woman, that movie would have been banned.
Yeah, the producers would have never let it go through.
So I'm not trying to, say that men should get better treatment. I think we should just have the situation where, okay, yes, there is sexism in the gaming industry. We do need to start putting some perspective to how we perceive and portray women in video games. I completely 100% agree with that. But I do not agree that just because they dress sexy makes them a sexist situation. I think if you have a character that's basically a brick in sexy outfits, and we turn him into something that's supposed to be sexual, like, what do they call it? The lamp in a bikini or something like that, which is basically, it's window dressing. It has no point other than to be there to titillate. That is sexist. But if you have a character that has a point, has a meaning, does not dress strangely because somebody else forces her to, that is not a sexist situation. Because there's plenty of sexist things in video games on the male side too, and we never look at those.
No, we really don't.